is the Fade 5 Podcast with Brad Evans and Nate Lundy.
Place your bets, you jackwagons. This is indeed the Fade 5 Podcast on this hashtag Tequila Thursday. Andale to Total Wine and More right now. You can pick up a bottle of Suavecito tequila. It's ultra smooth. It tastes delicious. And it won't break the bank. So grab a bottle of Suavecito and throw yourself a little betting fiesta tonight. Unlike last night, unless you were all in or Northwestern. An amazing season so far going on the north side of Chicago and Evanston. That team has 7 quarter-one wins. I'm going to update the bracket big board a little bit later today, and I think I'm going to elevate the Wildcats to a number 6 seed after they took down Indiana, nearly blew a 21-point lead at halftime. But boo, he said, boo, yeah, with the teardrop at the buzzer, and ultimately Northwestern prevailed. So enough of the college basketball. I can talk about that endlessly, ceaselessly, all digging day long. Let's talk about the NBA and a player prop of the day. Lundy, see if you're going to come with me on this one. We got Phoenix. We got the LA Clippers going toe-to-toe tonight. Big battle out west. I like Kawhi Leonard, and it's not on points. It's not on rebounds. It's not on assists. It's not on a combination of any of those. I like the over on 1.5 steals and blocks. It is minus 130 right now at DraftKings. Kawhi has got those like freakishly long fingers and huge hands, and they've been working in the steals game and in the block game. He has hit the over on this combo. In 12 of his last 16 games, he's averaging 1.4 steals per game on the season and a half a block per game as well. I'm no math major, but you add those up, that's 1.9 on average. That is greater than 1.5 needed. And you look at Phoenix, they've allowed the 11th most steals per game in their last 10. That's 7.5 per contest to opponents to be exact, though they have surrendered the 6th fewest blocks per game over the last 10 contests, giving up 4.1 swats per game. So I don't know if you're going to fade or follow me on this early Kawhi Leonard action, or maybe got something else. What do you think on this NBA player prop of the day?
I'm fine with yours. Let me go with mine because I like the odds on mine a little bit better. One of the same names. Let's go to the same game. This is an easy one. I need 2 3-pointers out of Mr. Kawhi Leonard, the aforementioned long arms, big hands, former Spur. And then I need 2 or more 3-pointers out of Paul George. Brad, if I put those 2 together over at the big fancy DK, that is a plus 130. Let me give you the reasons why. Kawhi Leonard, 2 or more in 2 of his last 3, and in 5 of his last 8 contests, and Paul George has done it in 9 of his last 10 games, and the only one that he missed was on Tuesday against Golden State when he only went 1 for 5. So I'm expecting a little bounce back there out of PG-13. So 2 or more for Leonard, 2 or more for Paul George. You put that together as an SGP at DraftKings plus 130. How you feeling about those 2 from outside the arc?
I like getting seduced by the juice and certainly the tequila. It is a hashtag Tequila Thursday after all. Bartender, pour us another edition of the Fade 5.
Number 5.
All right, we got a loaded slate of college basketball games yet again. A lot of action west of the Mississippi tonight. In this game, no exception. We're talking about a team that's going to be on the 12-seed line come in state tournament time, and one with the best scorers in the nation, and Oral Roberts, and that, of course, is Max Abmas in a squad that may be able to repeat what they did a couple of years ago. And remember, they knocked off Ohio State in a 2-15 matchup and waltz pretty deep into the field of 68. They're a frightening team, to say the least. But tonight, I say North Dakota gets the cover plus 19.5 in Tulsa against ORU. And here's the reason why. Look, I know Oral Roberts, undefeated at home this season, an impeccable 10-0. They play a fast-paced game. Zip, 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 zip. Number 26 in the country and adjusted tempo according to KenPom.com. And at home this season, the fourth best offensive team in the country in terms of effective field goal percentage, where they're netting 53.8% inside the arc and 42.4% outside of it. Over 44% of their shots, matter of fact, come from long distance. A little bit forgiving defensively, number 111 in adjusted defensive efficiency in those home matchups. But why I like North Dakota, they are more jack happy than I was in high school and also than Oral Roberts. They are a team that is shooting 47% of their shots from outside. Now they're only in 33.7% of those in Summit League action, but I'm saying the back door is always going to be wide open when you have a three-happy team, and knowing too that Oral Roberts is number 216 in the nation and 3-point percentage defense. So this game is going to be a blowout. There's no doubt about it. But I say North Dakota, yeah, gets to cover. I say they lose this one by 18. That covers a plus 19.5 at ORU. Minus 110 at BetMGM. Fade or follow.
Oh, this is ugly. Man, you're coming out of the gate like you've already done a couple of Suavecitos here.
I love it.
Well, you're swinging, but you're kind of swinging at ghosts, man. You're kind of fighting. I get the way they are from shooting from outside, and they have covered in 2 out of the last 3 times that these two teams have played. Man. Okay, sure. I'll follow.
Oh, I like it. North Dakota, they've won 3 straight. I just need a damn cover. Hit your threes.
Number 4.
Oh, Lundy earmuffs. We're going to go out west of the Pac-12, and Lundy's alma mater, the Oregon State Beavers, taking on Washington State and Pullman, Washington. I'm going to lay the 10.5, and right now the best line in the biz at tape time, available at BetMGM on that 10.5 at minus 110. Ever in the book has got this significantly higher, upwards of, I think, 13 I saw at either PointsBet or FanDuel. So you might want to jump on the opportunity. And I would play this up to around 12.5. Honestly, you look at Wazoo, a team that's struggling here of late, but they are 8-3 straight up at home this season. And they're number 21 in all of college basketball in those home matchups. And adjusted defensive efficiency, they're giving up just 43.2% inside the arc and only 32% outside of it. Not only that, but they are wet from outside, 37.9% from distance in those home matchups. I think Jordan Pope, who's made 49 threes this season, is going to be a standout in this game. Meanwhile, I look at Oregon State. They're the dregs of the keg, understandably so in the Pac-12. They're 1-8 on the road this season straight up. Number 205 in effective field goal percentage offense. Number 131 in effective field goal percentage defense in those road matchups. But here is the most important statistic. 39% of their points come from three-pointers. And again, Wazoo, an exceptional arc defensive team. I think that will play the biggest difference in this game and score the Cougs the cover. So fade or follow. Wazoo minus 10.5 against your Beavers. Bury the bias. Minus 110 at BetMGM.
I'm bouncing over to FanDuel at 12.5, and I'm taking Oregon State plus the points.
Oh, so would you play it at 10.5 on Washington State and middle it?
No, I wouldn't.
Okay.
I wouldn't because I think this game is going to be right around 10 points. Oregon State's covered the last 2 times these teams have played, and Oregon State has not been good, Brad, for a while. So the fact that they've managed to cover both home and away here with Wazoo, including one game that went to overtime. So I think this is going to be right around a 9 or a 10-point game. So I don't like the line that you've got at the 10.5, but if I can get 12.5 or even 13.5, as you were talking about, I know it's 12.5 at FanDuel because I looked this morning. I don't know if it's bumped up somewhere else, but I would actually take the points with Oregon State only because of the fact that they've covered when they've been going against Washington State. The Cougars, as you said, have not exactly been scratching very well lately, to use your usual sound effect there. So this is one for me that I would rather go the other way. I would rather either take that line or I'd rather alt it up and take Oregon State, as bad as my Beavers are this year, than go with this flat line at 10.5. That's my vote here on a raucous fade 5.
All right, fading me on Washington State and Oregon State. Don't go Beavers. Go
Maybe
Cougars.
I just haven't had enough damn coffee.
Number 3.
Or tequila. Numero tres on the Fade 5 today. Revenge game! Maybe for the Gonzaga Bulldogs. Remember, they lost inexplicably, nearly impossibly at home to Loyola Marymount, the Fighting Bo Kimballs. And I say Marymount gets the cover. I'm not saying they're going to sweep the regular season series, but I think they get the cover at home tonight, plus 8.5 against the Zags. And, really, this Zags team has been disappointing this season. And one of the primary reasons why, defense, and specifically perimeter defense. On the road this year, they're 5-2 straight up. They're number 7 in effective field goal percentage offense. But listen to this, Lundy. Number 316 out of 363 Division I teams and effective field goal percentage defense. And do a little bit more digging. It gets worse. Number 344 in those road matchups and 3-point percentage defense, giving up 40.2% on those long bombs. Again, they can really shoot. Timmy is a dynamo. But I think LMU 11-2 at home this year. A pretty good offensive team. They're number 60 in effective field goal percentage offense in those home matchups. And they're shooting 39.7% from 3. And again, that is the great equalizer in this game. If you're not getting out, stepping out, challenging, contesting, and defending, LMU is going to take advantage of you. And that's why they won the first game 68-67 inside the kennel. Gonzaga in that game just 1.02 points per possession, and we're 4 for 14 from 3 because LMU's defense has been above average this year. And cherry on top of the Sunday, Lundy, I don't know if you know Kaylee Lupepe and have seen him at all in his outstanding
Is that
mullet.
one of the backup dancers for Rihanna?
It could be, but Lupepe, he not only has dance moves, he is the greasiest stash and mullet combination in all of college basketball. It is outstanding. Do yourself a favor, Google Lupepe, if you can spell it correctly, and just look at the headshot. It will do magical things to you and your body. So hopefully Loyola Marymount's going to do magical things to my bank account tonight. And poof, all of a sudden, there's a few dollars that show up in the account. So fade or follow the Lions plus 8.5 against the visiting Zags minus 110 at BetMGM.
I think my favorite stat for the reason why I want to follow on this one is the fact that Gonzaga has only covered once in their last 8 games. Once. Mm-hmm. They are 1-7 ATS in their last 8. That's ugly, folks. That's UGLY. You ain't got no alibi. You ugly. That's terrible for a team that is, considered, frankly, everybody talks about the blue bloods. I mean, for the last decade or so, Gonzaga has been in that mix, and they've constantly been up there in the rankings. And this is a team that is not performing well right now. And as you said, lost inexplicably when they were a 17.5-point favorite at home against Loyola Marymount, and they lost by 1. So I'll take Marymount to be able to cover. This is another one where I might not mind bumping it up a little bit, but at the same time, I kind of like the straight line, given how bad Gonzaga's been.
Again, 300 plus and effective field goal percentage defense on the road. Fade the Zags, and don't you dare fade Suavecito tequila.
No,
that is
do
what the
not do it.
Is presented by on this hashtag Tequila Thursday. Pick up a bottle now. Are you not familiar at all with Suavecito? But pull up a chair. Let me educate you for a second. In 2015, Forbes magazine in New York City contacted 10 tequila experts around the nation, and one in Cali, Texas, Florida, and New York. People who know tequila. And they asked these experts one question only. What is the best tasting tequila sold in the United States? And 1 week later, on the front page of Forbes magazine, boom, was a picture of Suavecito Añejo. Grab some love juice tonight and throw a betting fiesta on this hashtag Tequila Thursday. Get Suavecito at any Total Wine and More store or ask for it where you are. We consider it a favor. Gracias.
Number 2.
All right, numero dos here on the Fade 5 podcast. Let's go to a battle in the Big Ten. And a team, you want to talk about like low, bottom shelf level tequila. the antithesis of Suavecito. That is the Ohio State Buckeyes right now, who just refuse to win or cover. And for that reason, I'm going to take Iowa inside Carver Hawkeye tonight. I'm going to lay the chalk -6.5. Best line in the business right now at FanDuel at -110. Honestly, I'd probably play this up to like -9.5. So if you want to same game it, alt line that line up to get a lower threshold on the overall total and still keep it at plus odds, it is a wise recommendation. You look at Iowa, they are 12-2 at home this season, and they are number one. Again, numero uno, mi amigos, in the country in adjusted offensive efficiency in home matchups. Now, they're a little bit forgiving defensively, number 278, and effective field goal percentage D, but they spread you out. They attack downhill, and they score it well from the inside and from the outside at a very fast team, number 28 in adjusted tempo on the season. Meanwhile, you look at Ohio State, they've won just one time, just once, in 8 matchups away from Columbus, where they are number 305 in effective field goal percentage offense. Though they are decent defensively, number 26 in effective field goal percentage D, but they still cannot score. They've dropped 11 of their last 12 games, and they are getting bludgeoned on the glass. So the Bigs of Iowa should have a field day as a result. So feed or follow the Hawkeyes, who I think blow the doors off Ohio State. I'm going to lay the 6.5, -110 at FanDuel.
I'm in for the 6.5, but I'm going to get greedy, and I'm actually going to do that, and I'm also going to do the -9.5. I actually had that written down in my note. I think they're going to absolutely destroy them. I don't think it's going to be close. Ohio State's not good, man, especially on the road. It's just ugly. I think I think they're 1-7 on the road straight up.
Yeah, that's correct.
They're bad. So take Iowa. You don't have to get greedy. You can do just the 6.5, but I don't mind the idea of sprinkling something in on an alt line for Iowa to win this one by double figures. I think you're on to something there.
Fade Eddie George and fade Jimmy Jackson. Take Iowa.
Number 1.
All right, staying in the Big Ten, and the mammoth matchup tonight has got to be Maryland hosting the Purdue Boilermakers. Let's get creative here on this SGP, and maybe Lundy's going to come with me on this. I like the Terps and the Turtle Power. Master Splinter agrees. I'm going to take Maryland +6.5 on an alt line, and then I'm going to take the under on an alt total. I'm going to take that up from right around the 132 where it's at to 139.5. And again, slam that under. So Maryland +6.5 on leg 1, and the under 139.5 on leg 2 in the same gamer +105. Yeah, little baby seduced by the juice there at DraftKings Sportsbook. Maryland, remember, in game number 1 in West Lafayette, lost in a low-scoring affair, 58-55. It was a defensive battle, to say the least. And at home this season, the Terps are 13-1 straight up, number 27 in adjusted offensive efficiency in college basketball, number 81 in 2-point percentage defense, which is critical when you have a 7'4" lane clogger like Zach Edey as your arch nemesis in this game. They play a little bit slower tempo, number 282 this season in terms of adjusting tempo at KenPom.com. Meanwhile, look at Purdue. They've been road tested and road proven as well. They're 7-2 in away games this year, number 58 effective field goal percentage offense in those road matchups, and number 22 in effective field goal percentage defense, and number 108 in 3-point percentage offense, and number 320. So even slower in adjusted tempo overall. So the biggest key to knocking off Purdue or even competing with them is double teaming Zach Edey and hoping that Lawyer and Newman and Gillis and some of those perimeter assets of Purdue do not beat you from outside. And honestly, consistently this season, they haven't. Edey's going to go out there, get his 25 and 15. That I can virtually guarantee, but the outside guys are a major question mark, and Maryland does an excellent job of defending the perimeter, giving up just 30.6% at home from 3. So Lundy, fade or follow on this SGP/OGP. The Terps +6.5, and the under on the alt total 139.5 +105 at DraftKings.
Well, I'm looking for Maryland to continue what they've done at home. I really like the under in this one. I won't bore you with a bunch of the numbers because Brad's given you plenty of stats. But both of these, the way this matchup lines up, I think the under is smart. But I like the idea of alting it just in case you need a little bit of a buffer. So I think this one's put together really, really well. And the fact that you got the positive numbers at the plus 105. I'll roll with you on this one. I'm happy. I'm good.
Oh, that's
Coffee's
nice.
the coffee's kicking in finally. It's been a
Well,
little while. It took a minute.
well, and it,
I was going for like a shot of espresso here before too long. I've been waiting. It's like when your wheel, like it's really freaking cold here in Denver right now. It's snowed the last about 36 hours or so. And you know how when your wheels are spinning, you're trying to get some traction. That's basically been my brain this morning. So like I'm thinking back over the course of the last 21 minutes. I don't remember what I faded and what I followed. I probably should have written it down.
Maybe you have, but you will remember the SGP, and I'm glad we were able to finish on a high note. Maybe there's going to be some additional kumbaya moments. It's bonus time! Lunday, NHL, NBA, college hoops. Maybe you like the footy. I don't care. Maybe there's some pickleball action. You're just dying to get some action on. What do you got for me on your betting card tonight?
A couple of things for you. First, a real quick, I'm not even going to throw out any picks. I'm going to give a shameless plug real quick that he didn't even ask us to do to our buddy Pat Mayo. Folks, if you like betting on golf, please go follow Pat on Twitter. He's one of the best. He absolutely crushes it. The way that Brad and I are grateful for those of you that listen to this podcast or watch the video on YouTube and you follow our bets or you thank us on Twitter or whatever. Hey, I hit a parlay because of you guys, blah, blah, whatever it is. That is me with Pat Mayo when it comes to golf. So we know the Genesis Invitational is going on this weekend. Tiger Woods back in action. If you're looking for some plays to have some fun on the links this weekend, he is at VPME on Twitter. Make sure you're following Pat. He's really, really good at what he does. So anyway, I've got a bunch of golf bets that I did, but they're not mine. I basically am just tailing Pat. So that's why I figured I wanted to throw that out there before we got going. All right, another college basketball one for you. Colorado has only covered the spread once in their last 9 games. Take Arizona State at home and lay the 3.5 against Tad Boyle's squad. The Buffs have just been awful this season. So, and even though Arizona State is not exactly anything to write home about, I'm going to go with the home team and the fact that CU cannot pull their head out of whatever Buffalo's ass they have it shoved up particular moment. I already gave you the 1-game parlay with Kawhi and Paul George on the threes. Let's talk about on the ice, shall we? Let's go to the NHL. I've got 2 for you. First, straight money line here. I need the Seattle Kraken to win at home tonight against the Philadelphia Flyers. And we're going to pair that with another slightly West Coast matchup. San Jose will be in Sin City. They're taking on the Golden Knights. Give me Vegas in that one. So Vegas and Seattle, both of them straight on the money line tonight. That is a plus 125. And then over in Florida and Washington, they will be in the nation's capital as the Capitals will be hosting the Panthers. I've been going back to this well, and eventually this son of a bitch is going to score. I'm getting kind of annoyed that he's not doing it. And that's Matthew Tkachuk of the Florida Panthers. This is a guy that's second on the team in goals, but he's only scored twice since the All-Star break, and both of them came in the very first game. And so the son of a bitch is due. Matthew, find the back of the net for me. The odds at BetMGM for an anytime goal are a plus 120, which is a little bit of value. The other books have it closer to even money. So the fact that it's plus 120 at BetMGM, I will play. It's the same thing I told you guys yesterday. What did you do? You went and found the value on Joker to get the triple-double because BetMGM had it at plus 100 when FanDuel had it at minus 140.
Ridiculous.
Michael Malone left Jokic in the game, folks, in the fourth quarter when it was basically under control, waited for him to get 2 more assists, and then took his ass out, and he got another triple-double. Nuggets are now 25-0 in their last 25 games that Jokic gets a triple-double. It is ridiculous what this guy is doing, and if the books are going to keep giving it to me at plus odds, I'm going to keep cashing tickets.
I love it. I got one NBA play for you tonight. Additionally, Kyle Kuzma gets a swipe, gets one steal. That's plus 105 against the T-Wolves. The Washington Wizard with some bad fashion sense. I don't know what the hell he's wearing most times as he enters the arena. He's not had a steal in his last 4 games. He's averaging a half a steal per contest this year. He had no steals early this season against the T-Wolves, but Minnesota's allowed the 3rd most opponent steals per game, 8.1 in their last 10. So I'll roll the dice, click a clack, and take my chances, and it gets a swipe at plus 105 again at DraftKings. All right, team huevos time. The parlay play missed yesterday. Way to go, Gauchos. You screwed it up. We had all the other legs in the parlay, but UCSB couldn't hold home court.
Yeah,
and
I missed an 8-legger because of those sons of bitches, and I even took them on an alt line.
Damn it, alt line. Oh, eat some cow chips. Let's go to an even bigger odd Team Huevos parlay play of the day. Huevos Gigantes. Give me Florida Atlantic tonight. They're on the road. Should be able to take care of business. UAB also on the road. Another team should be able to take care of business without any difficulty. BYU at home against Santa Clara tonight, and it's all going to be about the perimeter game in that one, but it's really hard to win inside the Marymount Center unless your name is Gonzaga. But I like the Cougars. Give me Memphis at home against UCF. The Tigers really one of the fastest teams in the country. Remember, the first game was a double OT thriller that finished in the low 100s down there in Orlando. I think Memphis gets the victory second time around, and then there's Iowa again. So all these teams got to do is win straight up. Florida Atlantic, UAB, BYU, Memphis, and Iowa boosted at DraftKings plus 536. That'll buy you some beers if it hits. So that is the Team Huevos parlay play of the day. Additionally, in college basketball tonight, I do like quite a bit Weber State on the money line at plus 105. In the sack against Sacramento State. Weber State won 50-48 at home earlier this season against Sac State. And Sac State, a pretty good rebounding team, but they have lost their last 5 games, a 3+ in effective field goal percentage defense, and they are turnover prone. Number 291 in college basketball in turnover percentage offense. I think Weber gets the victory on the road, which will be their 6th victory away from Utah this season. So, the Fighting Dame Lillards, I think, are going to take care of business there on that line. Elsewhere, I'm going to take Hofstra, the artist formerly known as the Flying Dutchman and now called the Pride. Well, I'm going to leave the 17 here, Lundy. It's a hefty number against Hampton. But Hampton is god-awful. Number 345 in the country on this season at Bart Torvik efficiency rankings. Hofstra, number 93 right now, one of the better offensive teams in the country. They're 8-1 at home, number 10 in those home matchups. And effective field goal percentage offense, they're netting 57.8% inside the arc and 40% outside of it. Hampton, meanwhile, number 336 in the country in three-point percentage D. I think the Pride roars to a 20+ point victory, and all you got to do there is lay the 17. All right, we are out of time here on the Fade 5 podcast today on this Hatchet Tequila Thursday. Reminder, go grab a bottle of Suavecito tequila tonight, sip on the love juice, and sit back and watch, hopefully, some winners cash. Drop us a rating and review at your convenience. Also, fade or follow us on the Twitter. Check out Lunday, all his free spreadsheet picks. At Nate Lundy, I do this exact same thing. You can follow me at Noisy Huevos. Until next time, as always, feed or follow. That is up to you.